So Manchester United 4, Bournemouth 4. Manchester United has basically produced the game of the season. Manchester United, this game was filled with a lot of roller coasters. Manchester United was on the front foot, Bournemouth was on the front foot. But we are going to actually analyze the positives and the negatives of this game because even Amorim spoke in his press conference last night. Now Manchester United has a lot of details to work on, and I completely agree with him because there's a lot of details in Manchester United that needs to be solved by Ruben Amorim. There's a lot of details that needs to be solved by the players, and there are some details also that needs to be solved by buying new players in the team because Manchester United was definitely good for most part of the game, especially in the first half of the game. Manchester United was absolutely wonderful. We were playing, we were pressing, we were so competent, and I'm going to actually analyze what happened in that game. First of all, let's try to analyze how Manchester United was looking to attack this game. There was a lot of rumors and speculations that Manchester United was going to be playing in a four-man back shape, in a 4-3-3 shape. And it turns out that Manchester United started the game with the 3-4-3 formation, and it was a good game overall in the first half. Manchester United was so good, and you can see that there are some points in the game where Manchester United actually switched to the four-man back. They actually played 4-4-2 in some parts of the game where Euro was playing like a right back. But Manchester United was looking to build up from the back, normal. The two central backs are going to split wide, and Manchester United is going to try to play and try to invite Bournemouth because Bournemouth is a high pressing side. They are a side that likes to press very high. So one way Manchester United was looking to beat their press was trying to play from the back, and then Luke Shaw or Lenny Euro is going to try to play the ball into those half spaces, and it was very good for Manchester United because we were constantly playing into those half spaces. Bournemouth left a lot of spaces for Manchester United to exploit in the midfield. So it was easy for Manchester United to exploit. And one of the ways Manchester United, and the reason we actually played Bournemouth so well in the first half, because we gave them less time on the ball. Manchester United was so effective on the pressing because we were so effective, we were so confident, and we were stretching Bournemouth constantly on the pitch. We were pressing them so well. So it was giving them less time on the ball and less time on the pitch. And one of the players I was so impressed with yesterday was actually Aiden Heaven because Manchester United had an issue last season of playing the most backward passes. We were so used to playing backward passes in the Premier League, but you could see that in this game yesterday, Aiden Heaven was so calm. He was so good on the ball, especially him playing the CCB role. Third match in a role that he has not played before in his career. I think he actually did well on the ball. He was so good on the ball, and there were numerous times where he could have easily passed back to Lehmann, but he held the ball. He was very progressive. He helped Manchester United to go in possession, and I was really impressed from what I saw from Aiden Heaven yesterday because he was so good on the ball and it actually helped Manchester United. But I think out of position, Aiden Heaven had one of his worst games in the Premier League because he was not really tight on his man, just like Matthias Date or Harry Maguire could be. He was very far away from Evan Nelson, and that's how they were able to score the second goal and also the fourth goal because Aiden Heaven, you could see that in the first situation, the Bournemouth player is with the ball and is about to play a through ball, and you could see that Casemiro couldn't intercept, he couldn't cut off the passing lane, and you could see how far off Aiden Heaven is from Evan Nelson. And before he could adjust and try to make that interception, they have actually scored. And I'm going to actually say this: playing left-footed players in the central back position is not really ideal because in every situation they will try to intercept with their left leg. They will try to use their strong foot to try to intercept, and it is really hard for them. And them playing the CC role is like they're playing on the wrong foot. They're playing a role that doesn't suit their foot. And because I know that if Matthias Date or Harry Maguire was playing in that central back position, definitely Bournemouth wouldn't have scored up to 4 goals because those half spaces that were left by Heaven wouldn't have been left. So I feel that Heaven would have been the one to come off while Leguero stays in the central back position because I think he would have been more agile, he wouldn't have switched off, and he would have been able to use his strong foot, which is the right foot, to be able to intercept that ball. See that overall Manchester United had a very wonderful game. Aiden Heaven had a wonderful game as well. Another positive of the game for Manchester United this year was definitely our attack. I think Manchester United is beginning to see the best part of our attack because Manchester United was one of the lowest scoring teams in the Premier League last season, and one of the goals of Manchester United going into the summer transfer window was basically to address our issues of goals. Manchester United, we were not scoring enough, so the whole point of the transfer window was to add attack, was to add attackers, was to add goals to help Manchester United to be a frequent goal scoring side. in the Premier League. And it is no coincidence that Manchester United has the best attack in the league based on SG. And Manchester United has also scored the second most goals in the Premier League, 30 goals in the Premier League after Manchester City. That actually tells you that in terms of attack, Manchester United is getting more synchronized. We're going to see that the deal of Amad Diallo, Brian Mbeumo, Michael Scoha, Benjamin Sesko, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Diego Dalot, that actually help in the attack of Manchester United. Manchester United is beginning to play so well in terms of attack. You could see that when Manchester United break on the counter, we are so dangerous, and it is so lovely to watch. Yesterday, Manchester United, our attacking plays was basically the best part of the plays yesterday's game, because we were so good, we were so sharp on the attack, and I really want to commend the wing back deal of Dalot and Amad Diallo, because they are really, really so good. And I normally see it here on Tactical Trafford that for Manchester United, or for the Women and Wrong system to work in Manchester United, he needs his wing back to be really attacking minded, and he needs them to be more effective as much as possible. And you could see that in that game, Diego Dalot and Amad Diallo was so effective. You could see for the first goal where Dalot and Amad Diallo combined, the moment the ball gets to Diego Dalot, he was already thinking of his next action. He was already thinking of what to do. Ordinarily, Diego Dalot would not occupy that position, and many times when he occupied that position last season, he was ineffective. Either he mistraps or he is ineffective in his dribbling. He couldn't take on his man, and he couldn't play efficiently on the attack. But you could see that the moment he caught the ball, he was already thinking of beating his man. He was already thinking of whipping that cross, and you could see how he whipped in the cross, and Manchester United won it up. That actually tells you that. You could also see how Amad Diallo was also able to throw threats on the left side of the pitch. So Manchester United, in terms of how our wing backs are beginning to come good, is actually very impressive, because in terms of how our wing backs are beginning to play in the last 3 games, Manchester United has sort of improved in the way Ruben Amorim is trying to instill the wing back system for Manchester United. Our attackers are also beginning to improve, and it is such a big blow to lose Brian Mbeumo and Amad Diallo at this point of the season. And also another impressive performance I want to point out from yesterday was basically Mason Mount, because he was so absolutely mental when it comes to pressing. He was so aggressive, and I think Manchester United having that performance in the first half was basically because of Mason Mount. Because you could see, for example, in this first situation, the ball gets to Travania, and you could see how Mount immediately steps up to press, and he passes the ball to Smith, and immediately also continues pressing to make sure that Bournemouth has less time on the ball as much as possible. And he also continued pressing, and that also urged other Manchester United players to join in the press. And at the end of that particular sequence, they actually went back to the goalkeeper. In another situation, Brian Mbeumo loses the ball casually, and you could see how far off Mount is from the ball, and you could see that in split seconds he ran back, he presses, and he won the ball back quick as possible. That actually tells you that I basically feel that Mount shouldn't have been off in that Bournemouth game. I feel Brian Mbeumo should have been the player to go, because I think Mount had a particular characteristics. He had a particular variety to a game that no player in that squad currently gives up, because he has this pressing ability, he has the ability to cover a lot of ground, and this is what Manchester United basically need. And also on the left-hand side of the pitch, Mount is not like a left hand like Michael Scoha that likes to occupy position and try to be fluid across the front. The Mount is the player that likes to hold the weight and try to connect passes quickly, and he did basically that throughout the game yesterday. He was constantly holding his left hand position and trying to give Luke Shaw and Dalot and other Manchester United players options on the left side of the pitch. So overall, Mr. Mount had a very wonderful game. So another strength of Manchester United that was very evident in this game, obviously, is the set piece. Manchester United has the highest set piece goals in the Premier League this season. They have 11 set piece goals in the Premier League this season. And we don't just score set piece. I think there's a strategy and there's a reason behind why we score set piece frequently now in the Premier League. I think there's a strategy that Ruben Amorim and Carlos Fernandes, which is the set piece coach of Manchester United, is going to unlock. So you can see that in this situation, Jaqueta is on Casemiro, and you can see that he's trying to make Casemiro not that ball as much as possible. And you know that he's more tall and physical, more strong than Casemiro. And so what was Manchester United looking to do? So Lenny Euro was looking to block the Jaqueta and let Casemiro run towards the back post. Fernandes is going to cross towards the back post, and Manchester United scores. And that was exactly what happened. You can see that when the ball begins to come, Lenny Euro tries to block the Jaqueta, so he cannot be able to stop or intercept Casemiro, and then you can see Casemiro scores the goal. And this was a particular sequence he used in scoring against Nottingham Forest and against Tottenham Hotspur. And definitely in terms of set piece. This is something that Manchester United has lacked for years. We have been one of the lowest scoring teams when it comes to set piece, but you can see that Manchester United has improved so far in terms of set piece. So overall, Manchester United had a very wonderful game. I just feel that the little details in the midfield and the defensive position was what made Manchester United to lose this game. In terms of attack, we are having basically one of our best attacking sequences in recent times since Manchester United had the likes of Martial, Rashford, and missing Bruno. In terms of attack, Manchester United is beginning to do really well. We're beginning to score goals unlike last season. But I feel in terms of defense and midfield, Manchester United needs to improve these little details. And like I said at the beginning of this video, these little details sometimes needs the individual to change. I basically need new players in this position to be able to change this aspect and these details of our game. So guys, I want you guys to drop your thoughts on the comment section on what you feel about the Manchester United Bournemouth. I want you guys to like, to share, to subscribe to Tactical Trafford, as I'm going to see you guys in my next video.